If you get pulled over, the first 60 seconds can decide whether this is a simple ticket or whether it turns into a search, a DUI investigation, or a situation where you're sitting on the curb while they figure things out. And most people make it worse by trying to be extra friendly, over-explaining, or reaching for something at the exact wrong time. I'm Nana Knight, and I'm a criminal defense attorney here in California, and I've watched traffic stops go sideways because someone said one unnecessary sentence, handed over one unnecessary detail, or agreed to something they didn't realize they could refuse. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to follow every time cops pull you over and what to do with your hands, what to say, and what to keep short. How to handle the where you coming from questions, and how to protect your rights without acting like you're trying to start a fight. Because the goal isn't to win the stop, it's to get back on the road without giving them a reason to keep you there to search your car or build a case out of a conversation you never needed to have. The first thing you need to do is stay calm and pull over safely. If you see police lights flashing behind you, take a deep breath, keep your hands on the steering wheel, and look for a safe spot to pull over. Signal, slow down gradually, and move to the right side of the road when it is safe. Don't brake suddenly or make any erratic movements. In California, this matters for 2 reasons. First, you don't want to be accused of evading the police or driving unsafely during the stop. Second, how you pull over sets the tone for the entire encounter. A calm, controlled stop shows you're cooperative and not a threat. If it's dark and you're not comfortable pulling over in a remote area, it's legal to slow down, turn on your hazard lights, and drive to a well-lit location. Just make sure your intentions are clear so the officer knows you're not fleeing or evading the stop. Once you're stopped, roll down your window, keep your hands visible, and wait for instructions. Next, know your rights and responsibilities. Under California law, you are required to provide your driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance if the police officer asks you during a traffic stop. You're not required to answer questions about where you've been, where you're going, or whether you've been drinking. You have the right to remain silent under both the United States and California constitutions. So if the officer asks, have you had anything to drink tonight? Or do you know why I pulled you over? You can respond politely but firmly and say, officer, I prefer not to answer any questions. Never lie, but don't volunteer information either. I represented a client in San Jose who answered these questions honestly, saying he had a couple of beers earlier. Well, that answer led to a field sobriety test and then a DUI investigation, a full investigation, which led to a DUI arrest. He later tested under the legal limit, but the process was extremely stressful, very expensive, and avoidable. So remember, identify yourself and show your documents if you're asked to provide your license, your registration, and your insurance, and say nothing more. That's your right. Now, tip number 3. You can legally record a traffic stop in California. Just do it the right way. California is a 2-party consent state, but you are allowed to record the police in public if they're performing their official duties and you're not interfering with the police investigation or trying to obstruct justice. If you want to record, you can say, officer, I'm going to record this interaction for both of our safety. Set your phone somewhere secure like your dashboard and keep your hands visible. Don't make sudden moves or step out of the car unless you're directed to do that. And don't point your phone directly in the officer's face. I had a client in San Jose who was accused of being uncooperative and resisting arrest, but his phone, when we looked at the video that he took with his phone, showed that he was actually pretty calm and provided all the documents to the police officer without delay, without argument. And that video led to the case being dismissed. So recording helps, but only if you do it lawfully and you do it respectfully. Now, tip number 4, never consent to a search unless absolutely necessary. In California, police need a legal basis like probable cause or a warrant to search your car. If they don't have that, they may ask for your permission, for your consent. If you say yes, you give up your right to challenge the search later in court. If you say no and they search anyway, your attorney can potentially get the evidence suppressed. You can say clearly, I do not consent to any searches, but be respectful, don't argue, just repeat it if necessary. I had a client in Santa Clara County who allowed a search during a routine stop. He actually consented and gave permission for the search. It was voluntary. The officer took the opportunity, searched the car, and found an old pipe under the seat. And that led to a possession charge that could have been completely avoided. Even if you have nothing to hide, don't give consent. Protect your rights. And finally, tip number 5, don't argue with the officer or resist their instructions, but start mentally noting everything that is happening. In California, resisting or arguing during a traffic stop quickly lead to additional charges. You don't win your case on the side of the road. You win your case in court. So stay calm, sign the ticket if you're given one. It's not an admission of guilt. It's just a promise to appear in court. Then once the stop is over, write down everything you remember, the date and the time, the location, what the officer said and what the officer did, the badge number of the officer if it was visible, and anything you felt was inappropriate or unlawful. These notes can help your attorney defend you later. One of my clients in Santa Clara County argued with an officer about a stop sign ticket and ended up with an added charge of resisting arrest under Penal Code Section 148. If he had stayed calm, followed instructions, and taken notes instead of arguing and getting belligerent with the officer, we would have had a stronger defense without the extra complication. So let's review the 5 tips for when you're pulled over in California. Stay calm and pull over safely. This sets the tone. 2, only provide what's required, your license, your registration, and your insurance. 3, you can record the encounter legally if you like, but be respectful and be transparent. 4, don't consent to searches, protect your rights with one sentence. 5, don't argue at the scene, take notes, and talk to your lawyer later. These tips can make the difference between a routine stop and a serious problem. Now, here's what's next. Even if you do everything right, you could still end up facing charges. But there's a legal strategy most people don't know about, and it could get your case dismissed. Watch the next video, The Secret Way to Get Your Case Dismissed. Prosecutors hope you never learn. I'll walk you through how conditional dismissals work in California, who qualifies, and how they can keep your record clean. And click on the video now, and I'll see you over there.